Hello there, good morning, and welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're back here. This is the final episode, the day one, July 31st. The last episode, well, actually, it's not the last episode, but it's the top album for the series we're running for the month of July, entitled 31 Albums That Introduced Me to This Band. These are albums that brought this band forward, brought them into my life, and I've since gone out and bought a lot of their stuff. And in this case, yeah, absolutely. So this was one of the very first rock albums that I owned after my Kiss era. It was probably, arguably, I think it was either first or second, I can't remember, between Queen's News of the World and this one by Styx, Pieces of Eight. Yes, my favorite album. It wasn't my favorite. Got in the top five maybe, I want to say about 30 years ago when I started kind of starting to get back in some of the older stuff. It kind of got in my top five, and it's steadily gone up until about 4 or 5 years ago, where it replaced my number one album. And that was difficult because there was a few years there where I was debating between the two and saying to myself, I can't give up on Triumph's Just a Game. It's been my favorite forever. You know how it is, you get emotionally attached to something, you don't want to give it up. But this album I was also emotionally attached to, and I just came to the conclusion I just liked this album better. But they both have a lot of similarities here. So both of them have a lot of hard rock elements, progressive rock elements. There's a little bit of blues on both of them as well. Fantastic vocals on either of these two albums. And some great guitar playing, just heavy stuff. It's just really classic. And they both have a good set of music and no bad songs on them. One outlier for each of them, but on the whole, just a fantastic album. So this particular album came out in 1978, so 46 years ago now, I'm guessing. Yep, 46 years ago. I got it in 79, the same year I got the Triumph album. I think the vocals on here are absolutely smashing, and that's part of the reason why this has become my favorite album, because I like strong vocals, and there's very few, if any, albums that have better vocals than this, in my opinion. So it has 10 tracks on it. I love the album cover. Same. This is pretty much going to be a repeat of the Triumph stuff because it's almost the same. Both albums very similar in a lot of ways. Great Wide Hope, one of the opening track here, really heavy, kind of different. Also very James JY here, very James Young here. I'm Okay, along with some of the other tracks on here, very up-tempo. Sing for the Day, again, another up-tempo song. Both Tommy and Dennis doing their parts here. The Message is maybe the only track on here that I didn't really care much for. It's not a bad part, it just doesn't do anything for me. Lord of the Rings, of course, I think is one of the great progressive songs by this band. Blue Collar Man, one of the great heavy songs, but it's also a really well-known radio-friendly song, as is Renegade, which is also a Tommy Shaw song. Both of these are Tommy Shaw songs. Excellent job by Tommy. He's fantastic. His vocals are great. The guitar licks are great. Pieces of Eight, another fantastic self-titled of this album. To me, very reminiscent of Lords of the Ring. They're both very proggy. Aku Aku, of course, is that keyboard part at the end, which I really like. It's kind of melancholy. Kind of reminds me of Ace Frehley's Fractured Mirror, but with no vocals to it. Well, actually, both of them have no vocals to them. I left out one track on purpose because it's my favorite track on the album, Queen of Spades. Absolutely killer track. So forlorn, so emotional. This may be one of the most emotional albums as well. Between this and Just a Game, they're two most emotional albums. This particular song, absolutely killer vocals here. Just love everything about this song. It's got a heavy element to it. It's got some great keyboards to it. Dennis DeYoung's vocals are fantastic. The story is so catchy and so memorable and just so emotional. yeah, so Queen of Spades and this album, Pieces of Eight, are my favorite album that introduced me to this band. So there you have it. There's my 31 albums that introduced me to these bands. The series we were running for the month of July. I hope you've enjoyed this. We will do one more episode this afternoon. It's an honorable mention. I picked out, there could have been as many as 12 or 14, but I decided we'll just go with about 8. So I've got about 8 of them. Do a quick kind of video on that just to show you that there's plenty of stuff that could have got on this list. Most of the ones that didn't make this could have easily gotten in there at some point, but maybe sometimes the cycle, some bands cycle up and they're in the positive light for a few minutes, and then the other ones who are down, they may come up and be in the positive light for another few minutes. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of 31 albums that brought these bands to me. I hope you've enjoyed this series. It was fun to do. It was something that I thought, maybe I should talk about the stuff that got me into those bands. And then it came to me, well, let's just go with an album and do it that way. So it's been fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please hit the like and subscribe. Any comments about the albums that I've chosen or about my taste in music, if you prefer, you can put that in the comment section as well. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. We will be back this afternoon to do the honorable mentions. So this is going to come out at its normal time at 8 o'clock. That I'm going to put out at probably around 4. But it could come out at noon. I haven't decided yet. More than likely it'll be noon though. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this. We'll see you then. Take care and have a good evening.